What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Arrest, and today I want to show you guys my least favorite dungeon in the game. And you can obviously already see what it is. It is the Lost Sanctuary dungeon. Now, before I go into explaining why it is my least favorite dungeon, first of all, thank you guys so much for subscribing and watching the videos. I cannot believe that hundreds of you guys watch the videos now, and that y'all actually, I don't know, it's so cool to me. I never thought that it would happen. Anyways, here we are. I just make videos for fun. Let's get back into it. And today I'm going to complete the Lost Sanctuary dungeon. And then while it's going on, I'm going to explain why it is decent. It's not bad. I don't completely hate any of the dungeons, but this one to me feels the least inspired in a sense. I love the area that it's in. Like, it's this gigantic bridge, right? Like, it's this gigantic bridge, and like, it's absolutely stunning. There's so much to see about this bridge and this beautiful lake underneath it. There is so much like beauty and wonder around this dungeon, but it doesn't actually look as good inside, and the story behind it has had to be changed. It used to be called the Animal Dungeon, because like there was like pigs and stuff, and also because they use as creepers, and so like that was kind of the reason for it. Let's go ahead and go in. I do like the entrance to the dungeon. The entrance to the dungeon is pretty nice, but you come inside and it's like, okay, it's a cool sanctuary, right? But the whole dungeon is kind of meh. You literally just run through mobs in this section. And while that's the case for a lot of things, and then this parkour section is kind of cool because the fire burns it, it's not that interesting. And then this part, okay, let me tell you, this part gets old so fast. While in other dungeons, you have to you have to guide a mob, or you gotta do this. This one, like, it gets old really fast. It kind of plays itself out, in my personal opinion. I understand exactly what they were going for, and it does the job well. You have to kill, in the first room that we're in here, you have to kill 4 creepers. So I have 3 of the creeper brains. I kill the last one here, and I have the 4. You come over here, and then you blow open a hole into the next wall. And then you have to get 5, and then you have to get 6, all around this beautiful tree. But while the tree is all very beautiful and whatnot, the fact that like the killing of the creepers gets so annoying, and sometimes take forever, because sometimes I get super unlucky and they just don't spawn. Like, I think they fixed it since, but I remember having so many problems waiting for them to spawn, just sitting around doing absolutely nothing, waiting for a mob to spawn. And that's something that doesn't really happen in the other dungeons. While at the same time, this place is super beautiful. So there we go. We have all 5 creeper brains. First of all, beautiful tree, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful tree. So I have to agree. Look, the dungeon isn't necessarily ugly. It's just unimpressive is what it is. Okay, and here we are. We have a creeper. Okay, come on. And then the annoying mob sounds. That's just something Wynncraft I would love if they would just fix in general. I hate the everything. Look, that sound. This sound. It's so loud, so annoying and intrusive, and it layers on top of itself, and it gets super loud. Okay. There we go. Put up all 6 TNT. Leave me alone. Like, it just gets so old so fast. The same thing. Although this parkour on the tree is kind of cool, but the whole lore behind this place is kind of gone. So it used to be an animal kingdom. What is it called? It used to be like where animals got corrupted, and then you're like going around and you're fighting all the corrupted animals. And then in the end, you find the person who corrupted them, Garahoth. And they kind of switched it up. It has the same kind of premise, but now like this seems like a place where animals would be, right? Not like, what is this random castle doing here? What are these archer towers doing here? Like, it doesn't make sense for all this to exist in the way that it does. Like, there's no real explanation. even the decrepit sewers, it's a sewers, you know. And then you have some pretty alright parkour here. Nothing too much to talk about. But like, even the spider dungeon. The spider dungeon, it's literally a spider's nest in the middle of the forest that is what? Surrounded by spiders. It doesn't really make sense for this dungeon to be placed where it's at if it's like all about corruption. Shouldn't be closer to the corruption. I don't know. And then look, and then so we finished the parkour, and it's just, you literally just run through this. You don't have to fight anything. You can literally just run through. And yeah. There's literally not much to it. Here I go, I run through it, and voila, I'm at the very end. And then it burns open, and yeah, it takes something from every dungeon. Oh, I will say this is one of the more inspired what's it called, fights in the game, because you don't actually fight the guy himself. He has too much health. Oh, he only has 22k health. I could kill him. But the idea is that you blow up the ground the same way that you blew open the doors. Regardless, look at the placement of this dungeon, right? Garahoth is someone who's corrupted, and he's made a sanctuary for himself here, where he's corrupted a ton of animals or whatever and whatnot. But the problem with that is that, like, the roots of corruption is here. How is it that the corruption ran over here to the lost sanctuary, but it didn't touch Elkhurn? You know? And this is more of a problem I have with the roots of corruption again. If you're trying to tie your whole dungeon to be part of like the main corruption story, because whenever you first unlock the Lost Sanctuary dungeon by doing a quest, it has a lot of direct ties to this roots of corruption area. So why wouldn't it be somewhere like here, you know? Like this right here would be a perfect place for the dungeon to exist, I think, as opposed to, this is kind of random to me, you know? The animal dungeon made a bit more sense, I guess, but honestly, if they tied into the lore of the Door of Time, or the Time Valley, this would make a lot more sense. Because, look, there really isn't a dungeon around here, and there is, like, bad guys lurking around. You can have someone do that. I think tying it to the roots of corruption, while it tries to give it more meaning, it ultimately kind of feels a bit left out in the middle of nowhere. While every other dungeon, like the sewers, is directly tied to the story and Ragni. The spider dungeon, the context behind it is simply that there's a large spider that's grown in power, and it makes sense because the whole woods around it is filled with spiders, and it's like because of her in a sense, you know. After the Lost Sanctuary, the Sandswept Tomb, of course it has to do with the lore of the old people who used to control Almus, and someone is buried, and there's a whole like mummy situation there. Then you have Nasak, which has the ice barrows near Nasak, which is completely connected to the whole area here, right? This whole area is frozen over because of that. And then we have one more, and then the next dungeons, I mean, they're all tied to their own specific places, and they explain a lot of like the area around them, but those are the main ones, right? Oh, and then the Underworld Crypt. The Underworld Crypt explains why Ancient Nemrect is lost the way it is, you know. And it just looks super cool. I love a Colosseum type build in this game, and this looks amazing. But yeah, that is my opinion on Lost Sanctuary. It is very beautiful to look at, and the quest itself, the dungeon itself is quite cool looking, but it is not as impressive story-wise to include it where it is. It doesn't really make sense to me for it to be on this bridge. But regardless, that is just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye bye.